but my heart told me the movie was sick and unwholesome, a completely malignant exercise.
Recently, while watching old Siskel and Ebert reviews, we were caught off guard by Roger's surprisingly passionate criticism of Child's Play 2.
It made me feel unclean and disturbed as I was watching it, and I can only imagine what effect it might have on small children.
Man, if it's that fucked up, then I definitely want to see it.
Now, I'd only seen the first Child's Play, as a supporting feature for Leviathan at the drive-in in early 1989. By the time the sequel came out, I guess I lost interest or something, cause I never got around to renting it from the video store. Maybe I was put off by seeing this awful commercial 100 times, where a bunch of dumbass audience members mug for the camera.
More chuck for the buck.
But as a human being, I wish I hadn't seen it. What good can come of having such foul and ugly images pumped into your mind?
But after hearing how violated Roger Ebert sounded after seeing it, I thought, we gotta check this out.
It's interesting how horror films have a specific look and feeling, depending on which decade they're from. You know right off the bat whether the movie you're watching is from the 70s or the 80s. Child's Play 2 is the epitome of early 90s filmmaking. I can't quite put my finger exactly on what makes horror films from that point in time so distinct. I think it's the slickness that makes everything seem new and artificial. The lighting is usually too flat and bright, like a TV show. Child's Play 2 starts with a burned Chucky doll being cleaned up and refurbished.
Watching this, I realize I don't remember a whole lot about Child's Play Part 1. Let's see, the kid gets a possessed doll starts murdering people, Jerry Dandridge is the police detective assigned to investigate the murders, and in the end, the doll gets burned up.
I kinda wish Child's Play 2 began with one of those little recaps of the previous film, like they sometimes have for Friday the 13th movies. The original Child's Play was made by United Artists. Soon after, United Artists was bought by an Australian group, who decided they didn't want to make horror movies. They were too classy for that, or some shit. So Child's Play 2 was produced independently, which meant if they wanted to use footage from the original movie, they would have to buy the rights from United Artists, which would have been expensive. So they just said fuck it. This is most likely why there is no flashback to the first film, to help remind the audience.
Well, maybe if you'd seen Child's Play 2 26 years ago, the original would have been fresher in your mind, and you wouldn't have needed a recap so bad.
The basic story is, there's this doll, possessed by the spirit of a serial killer. He's got some amazing powers. Watch him zap this poor toy factory technician, like he's the Emperor from Return of the Jedi. Not sure why, but he never utilizes this lightning bolt vision for the rest of the movie, even when there's times that it would have come in real handy. His kid owner is back. After the events of the last film, his mother's been thrown in the nut house, and he's been placed in an orphanage. Despite everyone thinking he has severe emotional trauma that has left him unable to tell the difference between fantasy and reality, he's immediately placed into a foster home. Foster dad doesn't even seem to want kids. Look at him brooding like a serial killer. He can't even drive without getting the whole car killed.
It's been in my family for 3 generations. My grandmother gave it to my mother, and my mother gave it to me.
And who are you gonna give it to?
Hey, mind your own business, kid. Don't rub their infertility in their faces like that. Look at the way she's patting his knee. Obviously, they did the medical tests and determined the problem was with him. So Chucky escapes from the toy factory and goes in search of Andy. Thanks to some subtle exposition...
No! I'm turning human again? If I don't get out of this body soon, I'm screwed.
We learn the doll wants to transfer his soul into Andy's body.
I wonder, does it have to be Andy? Like, can he transfer his soul into the body of just about anyone?
I guess Andy is just the easiest option for him. He has no problem tracking the little brat down. All he does is phone the orphanage, give some bullshit story about being a long-lost relative, and they give him the address of Andy's new foster home. Isn't there any confidentiality or privacy regulations? I don't think they're supposed to just give out that information.
Jesus. Did you ever hear it knocking?
The foster parents are also raising a teenage girl. It's awful how obviously dubbed her lines are every time she's got a cigarette in her mouth.
It's not so bad. had Fosters that would shoot you for staring at him cross-eyed.
Hey, check Andy out. This kid's fucking cool. So Chucky is in the house and causing all kinds of problems, like breaking the foster mother's shitty heirloom statue. The kid tries to tell them it's Chucky's fault, but no one believes him. At school, Chucky kills Andy's cunty teacher. The way it's set up, you'd think everyone would suspect Andy was responsible for her death, but it's never brought up again. Andy goes looking for Chucky in the basement. His foster parents are total pack rats. They got everything down there, from racist lawn jockeys to Old Chief Woodenhead from Creepshow 2. The foster dad comes to see who the hell is making all this noise in the basement, and Chucky ends up killing him. The murders have an interesting dynamic in the Child's Play movies. Because the audience gets to see Chucky, we know he's real. When Andy tells people about Chucky and they don't believe him, we feel frustrated on his behalf. So when non-believers, like the teacher and the foster father, are murdered by Chucky, you can't help but feel some satisfaction that they now know the truth, even if only for a few agonizing moments. The police aren't too bothered by the foster dad's corpse. They're just like, yep, freak accident, case closed. The foster mom is understandably upset over her creepy husband's death, yet for some reason she blames Andy. Oh, like it's his fault you guys never repaired that death trap of a staircase. She sends Andy back to the orphanage, which strikes me as kinda heartless. The teenage girl is just as bad. She coldly hands him his suitcase, no goodbye hug, no see ya. Chucky next kills the foster mother and takes the teenager hostage, forcing her to drive him to the orphanage. Since Chucky has had no problem getting from the factory to the house to the school, I'm not sure why he needs her to drive him around all of a sudden. She's just gonna needlessly complicate things. Why risk having her around? Man, think, Chucky, think. They get pulled over by a cop, and this is how she gets out of a speeding ticket.
I love these things. What's your name, buddy?
Chucky.
That's incredible.
Seriously? He's so impressed with a fucking toy doll he just lets her go? Man, I thought for sure this was gonna wind up like the traffic stop in Bad Lieutenant. Chucky has the teenager sneak him into the orphanage. I like how she throws the lady completely under the bus when she hands over Chucky. No warning, just lets him kill her. I mean, this lady was a lot nicer to Andy than you were when he got thrown out of the foster house. The big climax takes place at the doll factory, with Chucky chasing after the teenager and Andy.
Let's go! I'll go first.
Look, I understand women and children first, but when it's just women and children, then it's supposed to be children first. She should be the one helping Andy climb up the belt, not leaving him behind to fend for himself. Even when Chucky comes, she doesn't try to climb down and help him. What a spoiled princess. The scene when they're running through the rows of doll boxes looks an awful lot like the hedge maze shots in The Shining. There's a lot of references to iconic scenes from other movies throughout Child's Play, like the POV of the hand searching the kitchen in Halloween, sliding under the closing door like Indiana Jones, the dead mother turning around like Mrs. Bates in Psycho.
Again, I must stress how violently abusive the doll is and how sickening the role that an actual child had to play opposite.
26 years later, Siskel and Ebert's pearl-clutching reaction to Child's Play 2 is pretty comical. I mean, the movie's not that scary, and it's not like Andy couldn't fend for himself. You can see this in other reviews, like for Aliens, which was evidently too much for Roger to handle.
But at the end of the movie, you know what? I felt really bad. My stomach was all knotted up, and I was jumpy and unhappy and tense, and it took me a while to get back to normal again. Aliens was so strong it was overkill. It really did upset me.
But I can remember Aliens being a very popular film with friends and classmates. We all saw it on VHS and thought the movie was exciting, not traumatizing.
There was even a kids' line of alien action figures. I think we grew up in a harsher world than Siskel and Ebert. Back in the 80s and 90s, kids were tougher. We could handle anything.
I mean, once you survived the clown puppet from Poltergeist, or the dead knight in The Never-Ending Story, or the boat ride in Willy Wonka, there really wasn't anything left to scare you.
Open it up and take that fucking scum. Go ahead.